Hare Krishna. Welcome back to the series of discussing on subject of spirituality and awakening. So in our previous session we discussed about the spirituality means to understand the spirit soul. So in today's session we'll try to understand where to get the knowledge about the spirit soul. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanachalakaya Chakshurunmritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we understood in our previous session the spirit soul does exist. So now the question comes, where to get the knowledge about spirit soul? Should I type a question on Facebook or Google search and they should be able to give me answer? Let's try to understand. In this world, if we want to get authentic knowledge, we go to some authority. Say for example, suppose somebody filed a lawsuit against me. If I type on Facebook, on a group, somebody has filed a lawsuit against me, can somebody help? Until somebody, the lawyer, everybody will type, please consult a lawyer. Why? Because it's a serious subject matter. Somebody has filed a lawsuit, I cannot mess up. I don't know exactly all the laws, details of all the laws. Only a good lawyer can help me in that case. If suppose I type, in some group, social media group, I have some serious heart condition. It requires probably some heart surgery or something, maybe serious, remedy. Can somebody help? The natural response would be, try to find a good heart surgeon, a specialist who knows the subject matter. But if I type something, what is spirituality? Everybody simply blabbers, okay, spirituality this, spirituality that, and people bombard like anything. Why? Because people think it is not important to approach authority on spirituality. No. Well, people write a lot of books. No, but unless a person has acquired the knowledge from an authentic source by studying under a proper teacher, it's very difficult to get a proper and authentic information or knowledge about the soul. For example, if I want to be graduate in any field, say I want to graduate in engineering or in medical science, I go to a university. And who is teaching in the university? Another graduate who is a professor in that particular field. He has graduated from some university. And who taught him in that university? Another professor who was again a graduate in that field from some university. So it's a chain of succession by which the knowledge comes down. Nobody can actually become a graduate in any bona fide field unless he's taught by a teacher. This is how even our, material knowledge in this world flows in. It has to come in the chain of succession. So this is a very crucial thing. If we want to acquire knowledge about the spirit soul, we have to find a proper professor who is graduate in that field. And of course, nowadays we don't have any university which teaches the knowledge about the soul. But there are some bona fide universities. Not in the sense we are accustomed to, But that university is called in Sanskrit as parampara. No, parampara, or it is also, you know, is called sampradaya. Samyag pradayate means a place where the knowledge is given in totality. How I received, I give exactly in the same way. No addition, no subtraction. I pass the knowledge exactly as it is. This is what happens in a university, right? We learn from the textbooks. The professor simply teaches what is there in the textbook, does not add or subtract anything. So, this is a very, very crucial and important aspect. If we need to get the knowledge about the spirit soul, or bona fide knowledge about the spirituality, we have to approach a sampradaya. Now, this sampradaya is not like a religion. When you talk about religion, people get scared. Oh, religions, they are the biggest source of clashes in today's day and age. You see, people fight in the name of religion. There's so much, misunderstanding. So we're not talking about the religion. We are talking about a university which gives spiritual wisdom, spiritual knowledge. So we have to approach a similar spiritual university, sampradaya. And in modern times, there are some sampradayas, there are some universities which are not like officially, uh, you know, incorporated universities, but there are people who have studied seriously the spirituality and they pass the knowledge. Just like take an example, so many yoga institutes nowadays. And who is the teacher who teaches in yoga institute? Is a person who studied, who learned the yoga under another teacher, a bona fide teacher. They don't add anything in yoga, they don't subtract anything in yoga. They teach you as they learn themselves. This is the same way in spirituality. We have to approach a bona fide teacher or a bona fide university which can give us knowledge about the spirit soul. Now, in general, there are three ways to acquire knowledge in this world. One is through the perception. We perceive through our senses, like I see through my eyes, I hear through my ears, I smell through the nose, I taste through the tongue, I touch through my skin. So this is the way we acquire knowledge. Oh, this is cold. So through the touch sensation, I find out, oh, this is cold. Or I say, this is black. So through eyesight, I'm understanding this is black. And I'm hearing, this is black. So in this way, we acquire knowledge through the perception of our senses, the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin. They are the five senses through which we acquire knowledge. But that knowledge is not going to be a substantial way to acquire spiritual knowledge or knowledge about the spirit soul. No. Because our senses have certain limitations. How? How do we understand our senses have limitation? Many times people say, oh, I believe what I see. But that's not a very intelligent way of believing in anything. Like, for example, if I see a live wire, can I see the current flowing through it? No. When I touch it, then I will know. And even touching is not perfect. For example, if you take dry ice in the hand, dry ice, if you touch it, it appears to be, you feel like it's super hot, where the temperature actually is in, minus Fahrenheit. No. So it's very, very cold, but when you touch it, it appears like very hot. So our perception of touch is also not perfect. Similarly, our eyes can only see when the light illumination is there. If it becomes dark, completely pitch dark, we can't see anything. I can't even see my own hand, so close to me. And even when the light is there, we do not get uh, perfect or real uh, information always. For example, when I look at the sun in the daytime, sun appears to be like a small, this size disk, like a coin. But we know sun is very huge, much bigger than probably this earth. Okay, so uh, our sense of seeing, our sense of touch, our sense of all our senses, they actually do not give us perfect knowledge. They have limitations. So when you're talking about the spiritual knowledge, a knowledge about the spirit soul, it's a futile way to rely on it. Another way is whatever we perceive through our senses, we develop a rough guesswork. We start guessing, okay, I seen this. So start guessing that, okay, this must be like this. Now, there's a very famous example we have, which I learned from my childhood. You know, like for example, a frog. A frog who lived all his life in the well, a small well in a village, was once visited by a frog which came from Atlantic Ocean. And we are in the West Coast, so Pacific Ocean. So a frog from Pacific Ocean comes to visit a frog who lived all his life in the well. And he says, I'm coming from Pacific Ocean. He says, oh, you're coming from Pacific. Is your Pacific Ocean as big as my well? And the frogs are laughing. Oh, it's much, much bigger. So the frog from the well starts judging, okay, how big is it? Is it twice as big as this well? Oh, no, it's much bigger. Okay, 10 times? No, much bigger. 100 times? No, sir, it's much, much bigger. Come on, 1,000 times? 10,000 times? 1,000,000 times? Now just imagine, can you really measure Pacific Ocean if you have only knowledge of a well? How many times you have to multiply the well? You can never understand the vastness of Pacific Ocean if you have only experienced well. So even guesswork fails to give us spiritual wisdom. Okay? So if we want to know, we want to get the knowledge about the spirit soul, we have to approach authority and hear from him. Simply hearing will give me perfect knowledge. Now, of course, for that, one most crucial and important principle is the authority whom we approach should not be lying. Now, this may not be appropriate or most perfect example, but we know, news channels, for example. If I see in the news channel, oh, there's a storm, snowstorm, heavy snowstorm on the East Coast. The whole New York City is having 24 inches of snow, for example. I know that there is actually so much snow happening because I'm believing authority. Some authority is propagating that knowledge and I simply accept it and my knowledge is perfect. If I hear, oh, there was some earthquake in the Southern California, I immediately pick up the phone and call my friends. Are you okay? Are you guys okay? Because I heard there was an earthquake. Why? Because I simply put trust in authority, which I know is not going to cheat me. So similarly, approaching a spiritual authority requires some reasonable amount of faith. Now, and generally, the spiritual university that we talked about, they do not have any vested interest. Their only interest is to give spiritual wisdom. Don't believe in religion, don't believe in conversion. They don't really fight in the name of religion or conversion. They simply want to pass the information, the spiritual wisdom. So we need to approach similar authority and hear from them, and we get the perfect information about this spirit soul. So this is the sum and substance of uh, this particular discussion. We need to approach a spiritual authority, which generally will be the most reliable way of acquiring knowledge about the spirit or soul. So we'll stop here. We'll continue from this point onwards in our next video. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.